Do it one more time. Do it one more fucking.
I've done that like 4 times in a row, and Dusty's sick of it. What's up, guys? You're listening and watching another episode of Metal Massacre. I'm the weirdo with the beardo. He's the czar of Nar.
You're a son of a bitch.
I'm a son of a bitch. Thanks for joining us. We got a fun one today. This is going to be, I think, honestly, this is one of the favorite talks I think we've ever. I don't even want to call it an interview. I just want to call it a talk.
It was a good chat.
I mean, we got some of the nitty gritty down, but a lot of this was just getting to know the guy. Today, we're going to talk to Steve from Wolves at the Gate.
Mm-hmm.
Really fun guy. Had some similar interests to us, which was new. You know, that doesn't happen a lot. Sometimes you get into some of these calls and people are like, I don't give a shit about anything you love. And
right.
And like that's okay. We're not here for us, but it's just like it's nice to have a talk with somebody that can actually like relate to some of that stuff. So later on in the show, we'll have Steve here from Wolves at the Gate. Really fun band too. You know, I've heard of them forever.
Mm-hmm.
I've peripherally checked out their stuff. I've never really dug into it as deep as we did now.
Fucking music, like, let's be honest. I mean, it's always astounding to me because I have heard of this band, but I'll be honest with people when they come on the show. I'll be like, hey, I was checking out your stuff today. I haven't heard you before today, but that's why you're here. Or like if it is someone I've peripherally heard of, like you just said, I mean, I'll be honest with them. It's just always astounding to me when I'm like, oh yeah, that's a cool offer. I like this band's aesthetic. Let's look at this. Oh shit, they got like 23 million plays on this song. I'm the ass. I'm the one that's paying attention.
Yeah, like you said, there's just so much out there nowadays. I mean, especially in today's market, there's more music and more bands than there have ever been. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to really listen to everything and give everything a chance, especially if you're like me and you hyper fixate on stuff and you're like really into one band and that's kind of the band you listen to, and maybe you'll listen to other stuff, but that's the one you go back to. It's hard to really give other stuff an opportunity sometimes, but I'm glad we talked to Steve because it kind of opened me up to the band more and to giving that band a shot and actually like listening into more of what they do. So I'm excited for this new album they have dropping. I think this is going to be a weird change for them. We actually got off the call, I remember, and he gave us some behind the scenes details as far as their future plans and what's going on. And knowing that, I think this is going to be a rad album. It's going to be cool.
Like the aesthetic looks really cool on everything that they're doing. Like it's got a really nice branding. Branding might not be the right word, but then you know what I mean. Like it's got a really cool aesthetic and style more than anything else. Vocals are massive, so I was glad we got to. Normally, it's really nice to get like the lead singer or front-man or something because it's very easy to ask then the questions that are like, you know, like what's the concept for this album and stuff like that. You can get a deep dive and get a feel then for what the whole, I guess the vibe would be for everything they're trying to do. And it really does peel back a layer for you. But like you said, we really just had like just a chat with this dude. It was, without stepping on the interview, like you were saying, it was more, we just talked about like soccer. We talked about
Hulk Hogan.
Like,
it was cool.
Yeah, and he was a really down to earth guy. Obviously, you know, they're sometimes I think a lot of people in like the metal community, well, maybe it's too strong of a statement, but they're off put when something's like labeled Christian metal or something like that. But most of the time, you don't even know it, and you wouldn't know it if they didn't.
I didn't even know that about this until like now. Like I had no inkling that this was a Christian metal band. I just knew that this went hard, and Steve was a really good guy. You know, he wasn't the type of person to make that what it's about. You know, it's like it may have those themes and it may have those I don't know. I don't want to say aesthetics, but like just guideline morals to what they're doing. Sure. But the music, it's not preachy. It doesn't seem like it's reaching. It doesn't really force anything down your throat. It's really, it's almost like how I would say Under Oath is or Flyleaf. Like they are that, but the music in itself doesn't have to be like worship music. You know what I mean? No one's playing this at a church and waving their hands around. Like,
no, fuck no.
No.
It'd be a pretty sick church if that's what you did do.
If anything, I almost think Christian metal bands are kind of a fun thing to discuss and to maybe dive into more because they're part of two communities. They're like I forget what it is. They're kind of, they have a hand in each community, but they don't really fit in either one fully. You know what I mean? It's like Hellboy. He's a monster. He's a man. He feels akin to both, but they both reject him, kind of a thing. Like, I've known a lot of people of that faith that look at bands like Demon Hunter and stuff like that, and they look at it as like, oh, that doesn't fit into our faith, into what we believe.
Sure.
I'm sure they get some of that as well from maybe old school religious people, but then you also have to wonder, is the metal community feel that way? There are some metalheads that straight up disavow all that shit. Don't care. It's not enough. It's not this. And so to see a band that might have some of that controversial fire behind them, like rock shit so hard, I think it's twice as cool.
Well, I agree. It's something that, like I said, I think that it's because it's like one of those things where, like, if it's not the whole subject matter, then why even bring it up, kind of thing. But like, I think that's the way that some people seem to look at it, I guess, from what I've been able to glean. It's more to me that, like, I only bring it up because they build themselves that way, but like, it's not something that if I just had the song pop up, he's talking about Jesus. Like, I have no idea. And I'm not, and you're not, neither one of us are religious dudes at all.
No,
but it's something that, like, if it's getting preachy, pun intended, then I might, we're going to move on. But like, other than that, I mean, this is, I only bring it up because, again, it's built straightforward that way, but I want everybody to give this band a chance. Like,
honestly, I'm at the point where it's like, it doesn't really matter, and that's like you said, it's kind of the best vein to be in, is like, you can state what you are and you can state your faith, but in my terms, it's like with anything else, as long as you're not shoving it down my face and like forcing it into me, I don't really care. And if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. But that generally isn't the determining factor as far as the quality is concerned.
Yeah. Are the riffs sick?
Yeah.
Sick.
Exactly. Like, does it fucking play? Then all I care about is that. So, and honestly, I'd say that with any band that has any kind of religious undertones or any agenda, really. Like, I listen to bands that have political agendas that I don't agree with.
Sure.
Or maybe like I'm just like, okay, buddy, quit being a fucking edgelord. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's times where bands like that, I'm like, I appreciate what you do. I might not listen to you all the time, but I'm not going to not support a band because they don't think the way I do.
I think we've had this discussion of some sort on the pod before, but I want to bring it up again. It's because like, I am more of like a rhythm and melody person. There's half the time where like the lyrics of something, like, I'm barely, like, I might hear them, but like, I'm not really reading into it. And then you are someone who's like a lot more like subject matter and lyrics, and if they're available, and then like, that's going to help me build, it's going to help me connect. It's going to help me be able to really dig this music a lot more, because there's a lot more meeting. I'm not that way. And the joke, I guess, I think we were talking, I can't remember which interview.
I think it was Alex from Dead Icarus.
It might have been where I was like, I send some people like, dude, this beat's sick. I love hip hop, and like, here's a sick song. And they're like, this is the most fucked up song I've ever heard in my life. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Oh yeah, no, it is. It certainly is. Wait a minute. Like, but I guess the same thing is that like, I didn't know for like the longest time that like the Devil Wears Prada was a Christian band.
Yeah.
Now you looking back at it, there's a couple of things in their earlier albums where like, oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm hearing some of it, but I was always just in high school just trying to play some early metalcore. Like, I didn't care. I was like, oh, this is new. This is crazy. And so then like, for me, I miss out on subject matter a lot more. Or like, I'll pick a playlist for the gym that I work at, and I'm like, sweet. Okay, this is like some like EDM half instrumental something, whatever. It's got a tempo so we can work out to it. Cool. And then I'll put it on like the loudspeaker, and it'll be like, booty butt, bitch. I'm like, oh shit, my bad. Like, this is a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit aggressive, but that's, trying to make jokes about it. But like, at the same time, it's, the subject matter be aside. And again, I only bring this up because you Google it right off the top. It just says, American Christian metalcore band, Cedarville, Ohio. But what I also think is interesting is it's obviously got that Midwest flavor, because like Miss May I is also, we talked with them last season or whichever. Yeah, it was last season.
Sure. I forget. But,
one of these seasons. They're also from Ohio. And like, again, we asked them, like their build is Christian metalcore. And I think Levi was a little bit more, he was just like, well, I believe, but some of the guys don't. And we've kind of not like, we're still billed as that, but like at the same time, just listen to the tunes. And like, I'm not going to get preachy about it with you, but I do think, again, like, I'm not exactly sure where the Devil Wears Prada is from. I should know that. But like, you know, I think obviously we're in the breadbasket of America. Like it's where
God,
a lot more religious people are.
Again.
They're from.
Don't ever say that again.
We're in the breadbasket, brother. They're also from Dayton, Ohio. What is going on in Ohio? They're from Cedarville. And then, what was Miss May I? It was like, what? First of all, I didn't realize there were this many bands that fuck this hard from Ohio that have nothing to do. Troy, Ohio.
Yeah. Ohio's bringing it.
And none of them are from Cleveland. So
Ohio's for lovers, baby.
You know it. We're having revelations on the air. Again, unintended. Read the book of Genesis.
God damn it.
Play the intro again. No. Thank you. But for real though, like we have fun here. Hey man, enough said. If they actually listen to this episode, but these guys they rule. I just want to say again, hey, thanks for coming on the show, Steve. And honestly though, hey, we should actually do some of the due diligence. The album is going to be mentioned plenty of times within the interview itself. They just put out a single. As far as when you're listening to this now, you should have at least a couple songs that you can go check out. And obviously they have a discography that's pretty deep. What I'm trying to grab, because my mouse, I have an electronic mouse, and I think it's fucking dying. So that's really annoying. I'm shitting the bed live on air. What is the fucking new album's name? Because it's Parasite. Wasteland. That's the new song is Parasite. And then Wasteland is going to be the new album. That's right. But you have a couple snippets out there right now. They have some good music videos out there right now. It's one of those things that, like, if you've heard of them and you like them all and you've already been a fan, we say it a lot, but it's in a good way, more of the same. It's going to add to their repertoire. It's going to add to the things you already like. It's definitely also still, like any good band should do, is evolving their sound and just, this is the taste of this season. This is what we were doing. This is the headspace we were at. You can definitely tell, because even just doing the research, I have listened to this band many a times before. They are on like a couple playlists that especially pop up. I was in like heavy metal at the gym. But it's going to give you, again, like if you're a fan of theirs, you're going to like what you're getting. And if you're new to them, this is, in my opinion, some of the strongest stuff that they have, because I think that they're really hitting it full speed, full gate. He mentions in the interview that, again, like they're all getting a little bit older, but they're not like in their 50s. They're like all dudes in their late 30s, but that just means kids,
right?
Life and time. So they've been relatively slow, but then it's like, hey, all these guys got like less than 1-year-olds. So touring is a little wonky right now, but we're going to figure that out. So you'll have plenty of chances to catch them live. From what I've seen, again, in their music videos, everything that they have out there, they put on a fuck of a stage show. It's pretty cool. And again, the riffs, they kick ass. So I have nothing but good things to say about this band. We generally have nothing but good things to say. We'll be critical if it matters, but for the most part, everybody we put on the show, we vet beforehand and go, oh, this is sick. And we should put some people on the game if they haven't even heard of this before. Or, hey, this would be great content because everybody knows them. So like, we always try and do that due diligence of bringing people that, even if they're metal adjacent, like there's a couple that we've had on that are a little bit softer. There's like that band Gore that I did. That's like, it was metal, but it was like a lot more clean and singy and
a little poppier.
Hot Milk, which we've had, is like, again, they were almost closer to like EDM and standard hard rock. And now they're getting into that growly metalcore stuff. Like that's what they came across our docket on our desk. But I think a band like this is the perfect encapsulation of what modern metalcore is. Right in the pocket, but it doesn't sound like, hey, we're going to make an album so that we sell it. This is the music we're good at, and this is what we're going to do. So I think that they're right exactly where like modern metalcore should be. I
think they're right down the middle lane of where it is. They definitely did their research before they made this album and made sure not only is it something different, but it's hitting all the appropriate beats that metalcore as a genre does. But I'll say they're doing some different stuff here. I'm excited to see like what all they can pull off with this album. So
with the entirety of it when it comes out, I'm actually pretty excited. pre-saved it on my Spotify, like I do with most of these bands, because I'm like, yeah, then it puts it in my ear when it comes out, and then we can reach back out for maybe a re-interview, which we've only done one of, I think, so far, because most stuff, again, we've only been doing the show for like a year. So a lot of people, we get their album PR request like 3-4 months ahead of time. Book a time like a month or two in advance. Then we put the interview out relatively close, within at least like a month or two of when the album's gonna be out, and then they go tour with the album.
Yeah.
And so like, I think that honestly, we'll get some repeats, or if you guys have any suggestions or people that you'd love to hear back from, that's perfect stuff to comment below. If you're on YouTube or on Spotify, you can comment on Spotify too now, or just reach out in our DM. I'm doing the plugs now, but again, what I'm telling you is that there's no shortage of ways to reach out to us. And I think that we're actually hitting that benchmark now where, bands that we talked to last year in like middle of 24, they did the album, they did the run, they did the tour. Now they're home resting, they're rethinking and writing. This would be the time to bring people back on and ask them how that went and what's next. So,
for sure.
We'll do that, of course, and we'll grab some of our favorites and who's available. But if you all have suggestions or bands in general that you just like to have on the show, especially if you got any hookups, let us know.
Yeah.
Below would be the spot to do that. Like, you should get so-and-so on the show, or I'd love to hear from X and Y again. But again, hey, there's really not much else to say. We love to pop in. Season 4 is going great. Again, we've gotten great feedback from everybody. We've had like every good show. There's some people, we get the thumbs up, then we get the thumbs down on some stuff. And you know what? That means we're doing things right, because that means we're getting engagement, and not everything's going to be perfect. Not everybody's going to like everything we do. Fuck.
Right.
But at the same time, I think that, again, season 4 it's been a lot of fun, and we're growing, and we're at a perfect spot now that we can probably not recycle, but like start to bring other people back in and start to keep evolving this show in the way that we've said a few times. We're starting to really find our footing here. And
yeah, for sure.
That's a big part, again, thanks to all of you. We have some Patreon supporters. We have a lot of people in our Discord playing games, playing Warcraft, hanging out in a giant community of death metal fans and Death Clock fans. Like, we have a whole bunch of crazy assets inside of that area. They get a little bit more niche, but that's another great spot to, like, hey, you want to be even further involved with the show? We say it discord.gg/Metal Massacre. You can hop in. That code's good at all times right now. Luckily, we have over like 15 people boosting our server. So again, thank you, which allows us to get like all those silly little emotes and higher bits rates for recordings if we have to use it. But hey, I just want to say thanks to all of you again, like we do every time, for any way that you support us, whether you're just listening, clicking the like button, clicking the share button, doing stuff for free that costs you nothing. We see it. We appreciate it. But yeah, if you want to do a little bit extra, we did have a Patreon. Anything Metal Massacre, you search that, and you'll find anything that we have, to be quite honest. Again, like we've said before, our name involves the word massacre. And so sometimes it's mainly nothing else that likes to get a little about the word massacre about it.
Yeah.
If you search it, I guarantee it's going to be one of the first things you find, because there's not much else that is getting shadow banned,
right?
Like, in certain areas, but it's not something we really ran into a problem with, and we've still been able to get a lot of support from all of you. So again, thank you, and even the things you guys do for free really helps. So without much further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get into the interview, I believe, unless you have anything else.
No, I'm going to
hit the intro for me one more. Just gotta send it. All righty, metalheads, again, welcome back to the most important portion of the podcast, the one that actually matters. If you're new here, I am your Czar of Nar, Dustin. I have the Lucian, the weirdo with the beardo. But most importantly, again, we have Steve from Wolves at the Gate. My friend, thank you again so much for hanging out with us today.
Hey, guys. What's the not important part of the podcast that I missed?
Oh, that's just us rambling about stupid shit beforehand. Like, we typically do, we'll have a solid interview, and then the week before we're like, what do we talk about? We'll have to find, like, is there anything relevant going on that we could just talk about? And it's usually just me and him bullshitting for 30 minutes. So
yeah,
I think that's probably the part that people love, though.
I think it's fun, but we always, people come here for the show. People come here for the interview. People want to know who we're talking to next week, and I don't know.
Sometimes we're trying to top top it with like, lists or reactions. That's where we're going to try and make the TikToks and the clips and all of that. But then again, most people want to look and talk to you. So we couch them together, but it sucks until now. So we just buy time. But again, dude,
do my best then.
Oh, no. You're, again, like we said before, you've got a pretty cool setup. You've already got a studio. We're already leagues ahead. We're good. First of all, again, thank you so much for your time. We already did some formalities, so I'm not going to just bug you about that the whole time. But so you guys are off tour right now, like you were mentioning before we hit record here. I'm trying to find like an exact like schedule of when you guys were out. So when are you guys heading back out next? Because the album looks like it's coming out in late May.
Yeah, so we're not going to be on the road when the album comes out, but we're trying to make some stuff happen for the fall. A lot of the guys, two of the guys just had kids, so we're trying to let them be dads for a minute, and it's their first. I have 3, and my kids are 8, and I have twins that are 8, and then a 4-year-old. So we're a little bit past that time period, but some guys have some real fresh ones that
what in your mind made you have twins and go, let's do a third?
Well, my wife's a triplet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and her cousins are triplets, and so there's just something in the water on her side of the family. So when we found out that she was pregnant, everybody's like, oh, is it a boy or a girl? We're like, we don't even know how many. We need to figure that out first.
That's wild.
They're budding. Yeah, that's honestly super cool, though. I mean, like, I'm sure it's very rewarding. It's not where I was going to go, but like, we've had a couple people obviously kind of bring up the fact that they have children and like younger children, because a lot of guys in their like late 20s, 30s, even 40s, like that's the time to do it, especially if you've been touring and working your ass off when you're like in your early 20s. So, we've had some people like. So, have you ever brought any of them with you to any of your shows? Do they ever come out and like hang out on the side? Do they know what you do?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they love coming to shows. I think in their mind, they haven't come to enough, For them, they're like, the louder, the better. Like they love it. And recently they got to come to a show and they stood in front of the barricade. So they literally were as close as possible to hearing the madness, and they loved it. My little 4-year-old, anybody that's screaming, he just loves it, because he's just in the house trying to scream all day, just going like, oh,
that's so cool, dude.
So he's just like, he's drawn to that. We played a show with Impending Doom, and he was just like enamored by Brooke, because obviously Brooke's vocals are just next level.
Wild.
So, yeah.
No, that's super cool. Like, I think that like some people like, and at a certain age, they're like, I was about like middle school, and I started bringing them like in a couple tours with me and that kind of stuff. And then like, but if they've already had the chance to come see you play shows, especially with like Impending Doom and that kind of, they're right in that formidable years. I don't got to tell you. I'm sure you know how cool that is. So.
Dude, we know what he's going to do when he's older for sure. Like if he's walking around the house trying to, like he's going to be doing that when he's older. You're going to hear that for like the next 16 years, man. I love that. That's so cool.
Well, hopefully he's got a better path than I did. It was kind of all discovery, and I didn't even know where I was going, or where to find music. And for them, they were born, when they were in their car seats. Honestly, the thing that would soothe my twins was heavy music, something that had like a constant, like something actually like truly like metal or metalcore, that had just a constant like double kick that for some reason it soothed them.
Interesting.
It's just the bass, the double kick just going.
It's like the opposite of a house plant. I think they tell you you're supposed to play like classical, but we're growing metal children, and this is
we have house plants too. So
I do. My wife's got way too fucking many of them. It's just a good problem to have.
So many. She gave some to my wife.
That's what happens is they start getting too big, and you have to transplant them somewhere else. That's how we ended up with some, and now we're giving them to others. So
you're like, please take this off my hands. Play some classical metal for it.
Yeah,
that's awesome. How cool is it though that like you've already gone down that path? You're 3 kids in, and you get to watch your bandmates start that journey now. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And the cool thing about it is as much as I can maybe just share input or wisdom, because there's always like a little bit of fear, leading up to thinking about the fact you're going to be a father and a different responsibility, but really my hope has been to kind of just like make it not feel so daunting. Like it is a big responsibility, but just to also realize like you're going to fail and you got to be okay with that, because every parent fails. No parent has spared their children from their own weaknesses or failures or just not knowing what to do in situations, but you just got to try to love them, as best as you're able to. And, I think kids are pretty resilient, and as long as you're willing to acknowledge your own weakness and, that you're not perfect. I think there's always the thought of parents wanting to present themselves as perfect to their kids. And then they just try to replicate that. And then when you fail, you've set up this terrible precedent, so yeah, hopefully that's what I passed on to the guys is, hey, you're going to fail. Don't worry about it.
Well, for sure. And you mentioned like the whole parents acting perfect thing. And I think, I remember as a kid, like there was a point where my parents were kind of like, mom and dad know everything, mom and dad this, and mom and dad will never fuck up. And I remember thinking that's got to be such a responsibility as a parent to feel that way. Like, but then, as you get older and things calm down, I remember having that first talk with my dad where he was just kind of like, yeah, man, I made a lot of mistakes. Like, and you're right. But it's not about the mistakes you make. It's not about what happens. It's really, in my eyes, how you react to what happens, and getting that down and figuring out how to handle things as they come by. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of that is stuff you use in the band, whether you are subconscious of it or not. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, when I got married, that was what the way that I liken it to is just like it's one of the ways that like a mirror, like you're like shown a mirror of what you're like, is the person that you're supposed to love the most and serve, ends up being the person that you hurt the deepest. And that really showed me, a lot of things about myself I didn't want to really face. And, but, I found forgiveness and grace through that. Then also the same with my kids, but for me, it's a special thing to be able to know that I've maybe failed in a certain area, or I didn't act the way that I should have with my kids, and apologize and tell them that even though they're young, we tell them to say sorry to each other. My twins, they've been best friends, but also just like biting each other and wrestling, their whole lives. And we make them say sorry to one another, so they understand that concept. And for me to do that with my kids and to model that and to help them see that really I'm no different. I'm an adult, I'm your parent, I'm grown up, but unfortunately you don't grow out of making mistakes.
Yeah. Good way to put it, man. I feel like me and Dustin are like that in our band. We're constantly biting each other and just fighting and wrestling and having to, and our guitarist is like, say you're sorry to each other. And we're like, fine. Okay.
Fuck, fine. Yeah, you're right.
I totally get that. That's cool, man. So I do want to,
you guys should stream your practices or something, because that just sounds like prime reality TV.
I'm just getting stone cold stunnered behind or something. Yeah.
Pretty soon we're taking you off the top rope, dude. WrestleMania
for sure.
Oh man, Lucian, do you? I mean, like, this is again completely unrelated, but we're having fun. Do you still get into WrestleMania? Was just this weekend.
Yes.
Do you care?
I was sad that I didn't get to watch it because I canceled my Peacock subscription because I was so bummed about paying all these subscriptions. And then my buddy was playing it in Discord, and I was like, "Oh, you should stream it. I want to watch." And honestly, man, out of the 10 minutes I watched, I was not impressed. But I probably didn't see a lot of stuff that was impressive. But I dabble back into it every once in a while. It's just, it's not as big of a thing as it was when I was 9 years old. So it's still fun to get into.
Yeah, I got into pro wrestling when I was a kid too. One of my close friends, his whole family was just bonkers for it, and so
that's awesome.
By proxy, I got into it because my parents thought it was just like silly. And in some senses it is. But
for sure.
For me, I don't know if you guys know who like the Hardy Boys are. I saw them. The high flying,
Swanton Bomb, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that and I was like, all right, I can get into that because that's definitely not fake.
Yeah,
that's for real.
I think
cool.
the lead up to like this past, I think YouTube has just been putting out a whole bunch of free stuff. We can get back on topic anytime, but like I've been like spending a few nights when I get home late after work, just throwing up on YouTube, and then it's just like, do you want to watch Stone Cold versus The Undertaker from 2000? I'm like, well, hell yeah, I do.
Hell yeah, I do.
Take me back.
YouTube to the rescue,
dude. Take me so far back, please and thank you. But
I'm so happy that all of that stuff from our childhood is like preserved. You know, you can go back and watch anything that's ever transpired on like WWF and all that, and that's the era I grew up in, was like Attitude Era, WWF. Everyone's pissed off about everything, and people are stabbing each other in the back, and my brother's choke slamming me into the couch. I feel like I just broke my back. Like, dude, those were the days when I was a kid. But I feel like as I got older, I was just like, yeah, if I tried that again, I would go to the hospital. Like, yeah, I don't know how.
Those guys take such hard bumps all the time, dude. It's crazy. But regardless,
so I guess, Steve, what else are you into now as you've gotten older? I'm assuming you're not like as big into wrestling now as you were when you were 9, because it happens. But like, what are those things now that you're kind of like, okay, I'm not touring, I'm not doing anything? What do you invest your time in?
So I've played soccer my whole life, so I love playing soccer. Awesome. So I just play in like a bunch of men's leagues. Basically anywhere somebody will let me play, I'll go play. But through that, like, obviously soccer is not very big in America. It's growing, but it's massively, popular all throughout the world. And one of the biggest leagues in the world is the English Premier League in England, UK.
I almost wore my Man United hat, man. I almost did.
Oh, really? I almost wore my Arsenal shirt.
Damn.
Yeah, so I'll try and catch Premier League games, Champions League games. So I love watching European.
Yeah, so you're all the way in, man. Because like, I mean, shit, did we just become best friends? Because I grew up, I played all the way through, because we're based in Omaha. And so we did just get Union Omaha. It's like a Division II league. But it's in like I think they're bringing up doing like the relegation system like they do in the Premier League, where you go up and down.
We should do it.
So
it's wild. I love it.
Yeah, Union Omaha just won Division II last year, the year before. And so like there's a possibility that like if that gets implemented, we could actually bump our way into the MLS here in Omaha. That's awesome. Yeah, Creighton, our local college, is like usually one of the top men's ones. I myself, like, my dad played he was in the Marines, but he played in the Marine League for a while. And played like against, like, traveled a whole bunch, playing against like Army and other like Christian colleges, things like that. But like I played all the way through college as well. So like, dude, I hear you. I literally
where'd you play in college?
Oh, again, locally here at UNO. It's called University of Omaha. Just
cool.
There. Yeah.
What is it? Is it NCAA?
That were at the time, because their program was Division II. But it wasn't NCAA, but Division II. So NCAA F or whatever that was. But you know what's weird now is they brought it back, but again, way off topic. We used to have a football team that technically was better than the Huskers, but like in Division II. Yeah. And they ended up canning the whole program because there's still a big old turf field that's basically just like a free space area now for the college, which is kind of wild. They got rid of Division II wrestling and football, and for a time soccer there, because it's the same athletic department for like all of University of, just like UCal of Fullerton or wherever, Irvine or wherever you want to go. So they end up canning it, and so they could put more resources back into like the main campus, and we still suck. So like I don't know what the benefit was, but
yeah,
I played there for a couple years. Then have you ever played indoor?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that is such a different game and so much fun. Like, because I played keeper my whole life, like 17 years straight through, and so then having to learn to play like coach, basically outdoor, and then like now I'm getting fucking wrapped up like a hockey goalie out here. Like I'm seeing 30 to 50 shots a game. Like it's wild.
Yeah,
but
no, that's not for me. No. Everyone playing goalie is like a different sport, than
you gotta be kind of dumb, man.
Yeah. Well, I just had a game last night, and I play. So there's like 2 leagues that I'm in, and one's like 7v7 indoor on turf. Yeah, and I mean, all the goalies do is just get rocked, because everybody's just turning, just ripping shots at the goalie. So I'm always just
full
thinking
speed, 60 mile an hour hits straight to the nuts half the time because it's like only 10 feet away.
One guy was down yesterday for about 2 minutes, and for the first 30 seconds we couldn't figure out what the injury was, and then I realized he was in a position that just shows.
Oh yeah,
there's nothing you could do at this point. It's just time.
Yeah. When you get in that fetal position, you know exactly what happened.
That's what it was. He was hunched over, you know, in the it looked like downward dog pose.
Oh no! Oh no!
I know what that is. Yeah.
So are you usually delivering the pain? Do you play striker? Do you like defense? But indoor it rotates. But I mean, I guess we could move to music soon. But where do you usually try and play?
I mean, I'll play anywhere. I played striker in college, and that's what I enjoy. But you know, I'm 38 years old, and most of the guys I'm playing with, they're like in their early 20s. So I'm just trying to be that old head that, you know, wherever you want me to go,
cover space.
I'll go. I'll be you know, a soldier for the team. And but yeah, I played striker last night, but like you said, you're just kind of like moving around. So
yeah, indoor is such a different beast, and like it moves and rotates so quick, especially if you have that, like, because we had they had like the 5-on-5 with a goalie where it's like in a like a hockey rink, like that style. That's the one I love playing the most. But
yeah, that is the most wild.
That one's crazy. 2-pointers and 3-point shots again, but that is where I took like the most punishment, probably, to be honest, because like,
it doesn't stop. If guys miss, if they miss and hit the wall, it's coming right back to somebody else, and you could get pinged again. You know, so
full speed. A corner kick's 4 feet away from me. I don't even know why we have it, but dude, yeah, no, like that's super cool, man. Like, I see. A lot of the times too, when we ask people that question, if it goes that direction, they'll be like, oh, I'm just so involved with music. They're like, I just kind of strum my guitar. We get a lot of I play a lot of video games, which I do too. I'm not throwing shade, whether it's FIFA or real life. I play some games, but
we also have people that I'll ask that question and they're just like, no.
I don't do anything else.
All right, man, that's awesome. I mean, it takes different shapes and colors, right? Like,
you know what? All those people are probably way better at guitar than I am.
I don't know, man. I think it's good to have counterbalances. You know, I think I get being fully into what you do, but I mean, he could have been like, I don't want to tell him that I play like Jujubes or whatever the pop game is on my phone when I'm on tour. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it, but I think we all do have something that has to counteract it. Because if you were just spending 100% of the time on the guitar, I feel like you'd be deprived of so much. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah. I definitely like am the kind of person where I like to do a lot of different things. I have pretty like broad interests. I love music, but yeah, like even that I need a break from at times. Really, just because like creatively, you need a break. You can't tour forever. You know, you need to, it's like, that's not a good lifestyle to just be stuck in all the time. So yeah, I see that, but it may work for other people, just not for me.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. For me, I have to have other things to do. Like, I get so hyper obsessive about something, and then I feel like I just grind my gears and I get worn out, and then I'm like, okay, I literally can't put any more effort into this for like another week, or else I'm gonna go crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can relate.
But
some people are just those crazy machines where like they just get down one path and that's all they know and it's all they do. Like, and hey, man, like you said, just it takes all types. And I'm like again, our guitar player's that way. Like, really, like I ask him, you know, like, what are you doing this weekend? Or like, what do you want to do if you want to hang out? And he's just, if he's not playing guitar, he's going to a show. And if he's not going to a show, he's hanging out with his kids. But then like usually he's got a couple bands, and so he's writing for the other one, and then he doesn't mind doing production and sitting behind the recording. He's a godsend, like I said, like because he's more than willing to do all that shit. Where I feel like, am I contributing enough to this project? And he's like, oh no, dude, I was up to like 3 a.m, just like running over vocal layers. I'm like, I love you, thank you so much, dude. But like, like I said, it takes all types, dude. But I do want to ask, since now we kind of know who you are, and thank you. We've been having fun. I do want to ask, because this album comes on May 30th. By the time this releases, we'll still have a couple weeks or so beforehand. So people have a good preview going into it. From looking at the preview itself, there's 13 songs, which is definitely a full album, which is like a full effort, full endeavor then. There's a few songs teaser out there, but something that I noticed, which isn't unlike you guys, because sometimes we'll try and pick and choose, be like, hey, this seems like a departure from you guys' old style or something like that with a lot of bands. But this gives a wider, like all three songs do like a really good job, I think, of portraying you guys fully. The first one is very heavy, like very modern metalcore, very heavy, has some electronics, but then the other ones involve a lot more clean singing.
Yeah.
And then it works its way through a bunch of layers. I think I really don't have much of a question here. I'm just very impressed that it showed within just those three songs, like the breadth of how wide you guys can get with your sound and your what you're trying to accomplish with this album. So if there's more of the same, I'm stoked because I've liked you guys for a while, and I think that more of the same is good sometimes because why take a huge departure from what you're already good at, you know?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, my one of my favorite comments from people is always like, "Oh, this doesn't sound like this song that you guys or these songs that you've done before," or like the most recent single we put out was called Law of the Land, and somebody said, "How is this the same band that wrote like," and they referenced like a bunch of our softer songs. And all I wanted I didn't, but like I wanted to just go, they're saying, how is it the same band? I just wanted to write, it is. Just because it is. Like I don't have any other answer other than the fact that all these songs just represent, musically, they represent what we like. That's all it is. You know, we're not trying to do or be anything other than who we are. Like I can't make something other than what's me, you know. Obviously I could make something that's not me, but I would never put it out because I wouldn't like it, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I guess that's what's fun for us is just to, we don't feel like we have to do or be anything other than what we want.
I love that answer. I love when we get answers like that from bands, because we've had a couple different people and say something similar where the common theme is like, if we didn't enjoy what we're putting out, then what's the point, you know? And it's really more for us. And if people like it, that's cool. But this is something we're doing for us. And I think that's a big, important staple in putting out, especially albums, is like, listen, you could put something out, could be amazing, but if you don't like it, what's the point? You know, like, those two sides kind of feed each other. You kind of have to like what you're doing for other people to like it. You have to show that, you know, and once people know and feel that this is who you are, I feel like it's so much easier digested than going off on all these different roads and everyone kind of getting confused as far as what's the feeling of the album. So like with Wasteland, I'm curious, is there a specific theme in mind? Is there a story you're telling, or is this more or less just a collaboration of different ideas, I guess?
There's definitely like a coherent, like streamlined story that we're trying to tell. And we've definitely like embarked upon something that is new territory for us. Maybe not so much. We are playing the long game. I'll put it that way with this batch of songs. And with that, we're trying to really explore. There's lots of things that we feel like we haven't done as a band. Even, you know, this is our 6th, you know, full length. And we still feel like there's a lot of things we haven't done that we want to do, both musically and also regarding just our content. And one of the things that I've always loved in music, both like appreciating it and creating it, is storytelling. And I feel like our culture is so entrenched in this idea of instant gratification and listen to a track and then move on. And what we're trying to do is create something that hopefully like lasts and has like a replay value to it. Because we're trying to think about how to construct a story, a soundscape that kind of all works together and flows seamlessly. I think the records that I've appreciated the most are like one of my favorite bands. They didn't make a lot of records, but they're called The Receiving End of Sirens. And their first album, called Between the Heart and the Synapse, it like the whole record just flows like, but every song, it doesn't feel like a soundtrack, and it doesn't feel like you lose track of which song is which. Like there's great distinction, but there's great like synergy amongst the music. And to me, like I love the idea of like getting immersed into an album. And again, I know that kind of kicks against modern trends, but you know, there's a reason why people have appreciated that and done that for decades.
Oh, for sure.
And we're hoping that maybe we can help some people in a musical sense rediscover that, but then also in a storytelling sense to really dig into, you know, the narrative of what we're trying to create, and people can kind of just jump in and not knowing where the end is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I speak for myself, but I'm sure I speak for Dusty when I say that is extremely refreshing.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I've kind of gotten a little battle scarred by music lately, because everything does have to fit this short-term content format. And all right, well then we got to release the clip for it, and it's got to be this long, and the song has to be shorter than this, and replay value in that term. But I feel like the bands that I'm really like into, the ones that I have stood the test of time for me, are the ones that like I'll put on an album and I won't even realize how far into the album I am until I start getting more aware of the songs and listening to it more. But you could put on an album and fix your car, and then, you know, you're like, holy shit, is this still the same album? And for me, a good test of a band is when I'm listening to something and I have to go look at my phone and be like, what song is this? You know, is this still the same song? Like, and you're 3 songs later and you're like, holy shit, that felt great. The transition between the songs is so seamless and it's so thought about that it doesn't feel like a bunch of just ideas placed into a basket. It feels like one big idea that's kind of threaded through all these songs. And there's something satisfying about that. I don't know. I don't even know what I would call that, but I guess synergy, like you said, was a great word for it. But I'm so excited to hear how these songs kind of tie into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And I think the other part of it too is psychologically, when you can hear those, I guess, clear starts and ends, and the way songs go from one to another, it actually can like disengage your brain from like just enjoying music, and you start like thinking critically. You know, again, there's nothing wrong with that format. We've just done that format a lot, and I just was like, I've just enjoyed albums that kind of have that sort of flow, and just wanted to challenge myself to do something different, because again, we've been making music for a long time, and part of what pushes you creatively is to kind of for me, it's kind of to like remove some boundaries and then put up some other ones.
Yeah,
you know,
switch it up a little
boundaries
bit
that I've had before, and then put up ones that, you know, I've always been like free about. And I think through those constraints, it kind of forced me to think differently. And I've really enjoyed the process. It's been very challenging, but I feel like it's been really edifying for us in the band, and so it's exciting.
I'd hope so. Like I said, I mean, like we've talked about this whole time, you really enjoy what you do. So if it's challenging you, that means it's helping, you know, grow and change, like everything in life, whether you're working out or you're doing a skill or you're trying to do a creative project together. I think refreshing, like Lucian said, that's the word. I'm always like, how the hell do we, I mean, like, even if you're on a record label and stuff like that, it's like 13 songs or whatever is no easy task, and it takes money, time. Hopefully, you know, you have people that can like one take Jake it a couple of times, but that's never the case. Like it's always, even if you do, how many layers are we going to do to this? And I will say though, even just the 3 that we're getting, the value, the production, the songs that we're hearing from this, it's obvious that you guys spared no expense would make it sounds like stupid, but you know what I'm saying, where it really
didn't hold back.
Didn't hold back. And it does, like I said, it was the best thing I can say is impressive, because I think that probably the thing that you've been getting, like, how is this the same band that made that? I looked at it more as like, oh wow, they're really like spreading their wings. Like they're showing you that they can hit all these different layers with like what seems like relative ease to have that transition between songs. Everybody knows it's not easy. Everybody knows that you're going to have to make a stage show that's going to be able to replicate what you're trying to do live. But at the same time, I mainly just want to say, hey man, congrats. Like you guys, if you're able to do that and put out something that's going to speak in the way that it seems like it does, with a full track length, a full album length thing that you could eventually press on vinyl if you wanted to and have it A and B, like that's really cool. And I think refreshing is the word. And I think it sounds fucking kick ass. So like, to be honest.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're excited, you know, and even apart from that, you know, I don't know if you guys were able to check out the first music video we put out for Parasite. You know, we did something we've never done before, which was we basically shot a short film, you know.
That's so cool.
And I know that there was a lot of people that were like, can't believe I had to like scroll through 8 minutes or something before I got to the music video. And it's so funny to me that like people were complaining about a band giving them more.
Right.
Yeah,
like it didn't cost you anything to get that. And you can always just go listen to the song, or you can skip through. But also there's a reason why we did that. And it's not because we're trying to be filmmakers. It's not because it makes us more money. It actually just costs us more money to do that. And we're not getting any, like, we don't make more money because we spent more money on this.
Right.
We're trying to give people something more and tell a story. And we're hoping that the story is going to be, you know, heavily impactful for people, and tie depth to music. You know, I don't see music as a shallow thing. I'm trying to deliver really deep and convicting truths for myself through the music. I mean, it's really my beliefs about who God is, and the reality of like eternity, like heavy things.
Yeah.
And so I want to attach to that something more to help maybe convey or express the things that I'm saying in a different way, because songs can only take you so far at times too.
Sure.
You know, you can only say so much. I used to try to jam so much in songs when I first started, and I've realized like you kind of like you can't force feed somebody 3 meals, you know, in an appetizer, you know. And
well, you can, but then they're just going to be sick to their stomach,
and they're not going to like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they're not even going to know what they're eating at that point too. And so what we're trying to do is maybe just take smaller bites, but to give people more in those small little snippets. So yeah, well, I appreciate that, guys. It's sure. It's encouraging, you know, and I appreciate the kind words.
Of course.
Oh, well, honestly, we wouldn't say it if we didn't feel it. Like, we're not the type to just talk people up, to be honest. I've had people on here where I'm like, cool. Like, yeah, for serious. Yeah. Like Wasteland, May 30th. I'm really, really excited for this. I'm going to dig into this and maybe make this a night out of this album. I think I like doing that. I like making a whole event for myself, you know, getting a glass of wine, some candles. But here's what I like to do. This is a little thing for me. And I don't know if you've ever done this, but it's really fun. So what I'll do is I'll pick an album and I'll pick a movie that's either like a juxtaposition or kind of down the same line. I'll put the movie on mute and then I'll just listen to the album on repeat through the whole movie and start trying to find similarities in the context and also just in the drama of the music, you know.
It's just gonna give me anxiety, bro.
Oh, I love it. It's so much fun. The first movie I ever did it to was Wizard of Oz, and I forget the album. It might have been like a Fish album or something crazy. I was like, oh, this is wild. It's lining up time by time. And this one, I'm going to put on a Mad Max movie because it's Wasteland. Right. I think that'd be fun to kind of see if there's any fun visual to auditory similarities there. So,
well, you're definitely catching the vibes then.
Is that what you were thinking when you named it that?
Well, it's the album and ideas that will be coming is definitely inspired. They're definitely derived from like visuals I've seen in a number of films. You know, which has been a cool thing for me to try to take inspiration from, is not just music, but you know, literature and some like really old literature and some old movies and modern movies, and kind of use that as like a springboard for creating, you know, the world that we're making in the Wasteland.
So May 30th or May 31st, when you get a random DM from the Metal Massacre podcast Instagram, and I'm like, okay, so if you time up Parasite at the exact moment that Furiosa kills this guy, dude, trust me, you're gonna be like, who the fuck is this? Like,
what do you want, man? And no.
Denied. No,
that's
but
awesome.
that's really cool.
Yeah,
man.
well, I look forward to that. I look forward to that message.
Okay,
and I've never done that with movies, but if you send me that, I will get that timestamp going.
Hell yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I can't wait to see what you guys have, and I can't wait to see what gap this bridges for the future of the band, to be honest, because I know you're playing the long game with this album, like you said, but if this album kind of does what you want it to do and it gets the reaction you guys are looking for, and it really sows those seeds, I think the next step is just going to be as exciting as this one.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we've also been playing the long game as a band too. So
hell yeah.
It's no short testament to the fact that you guys are obviously, everybody goes through phases, changes, life. But I mean, you've been a mainstay there. Anybody can Google that and find that out. But obviously, that comes from just being a good person, like being able to be a relatable guy, and it seems like you are. So maybe you're playing the long game, but dude, at the end of the day, I mean, like you're on our show, you're doing something right. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we also tell people we're kind of the Conan O'Brien of metal podcasts. We do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you'll never know what you're going to get. So
yeah, well,
thank you for letting us torture you for half an hour.
It was not torture. That was great.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, thanks for watching another episode of Metal Massacre. Get out there, be good people, keep it heavy.